Today I want to talk about how you can take a sound from a sample pack and extrapolate on it and build out from like one single sound to make it into its own vibe, completely unique from what it originally sounded like, but using like the most simple techniques possible, which is just like shaping the volume and doing a little bit of filtering. So here I've taken 5 or so samples from a new sample pack I just put out. This is the main one though. And just did a little bit of stuff to turn it into this. And I don't know what genre I'd really call that. It's something like it kind of feels like what's the Sand Planet? Tatooine. This is like Tatooine club music that they like. They hit the pod race, then all the little Jawas and Tusken Raiders go back and they're bouncing in the club with their guns and sticks and shit in the air. A little bit of a TDM, if I may. But the main thing that I want to talk about for this tutorial is the catch-22 that you get in when you're using anybody's bass samples in your track. You take a Virtual Riot growl, you put it in between all your sounds, and you're like, God damn, that sounds beautiful. It might be too beautiful, right? Compared to all the different sounds that you have. It's just kind of like, it's like standing next to the insanely tallest dude in the club. You look over, you're like, dude, go fucking somewhere else. You're killing the game for everybody that's under your shoulder level, which like, I'm not short, bro. Why are you doing this to me? But the real thing is what you need is a lower quality sample pack. And that's where Third Wave Dubstep comes in. God damn it. Go buy this pack. It's just good enough. People will not even know. They'll be like, he must have made those sounds. They're just unprofessional enough that they couldn't have been made by a sample pack producer, by God. But all jokes aside, the sample pack is good. Go buy it. Third Wave Dubstep. It's nice. What did I do here to get this sound out of this sample? So first of all, I took this middle hit here, that one that's like, y'all, that one right there. I'll kind of show you here. It's this one. And made a couple little pieces out of it. So the first thing that I did was EQ'd out the sub frequencies of it. So I'm sending it into a bus. A lot of things go into 13 here. And what I'm doing is cutting the low end off, sending it through a little convolver with that glitch sound in it, which barely sounds like it does anything. Just gives it like a bright tinny sound on the top, and then a multiband compressor, which is going to glue all the different ranges here. So the very highs is going to compress, the mid-tier highs it's going to compress down, and then these, it might bring a little bit of loudness out of some of the other sounds that I've sent into it. So I have like a pitch stretched, I think it's yeah, it's pitched up and time stretched to make it just a little bit longer. And I have one where I volume shaped it to be like a more of a hit. And then these little hits are the same exact sound, but just really short. Oh, let me turn that off. That's another sound. And then we have another hit. So this is just the last hit, I'm assuming. Yeah, so that's just the last bass there. And I've taken those, since I've EQ'd the bottoms out, I added a sub to them. And what is this here? It's another version that I've sent into a unique mixer track and added a multipass with a bunch of effects on 3 different areas of them. But the main thing that this is doing, I'll just say what it's doing instead of showing all the different stuff, is it's pitching up this lowest area, because the difference between these sounds is this sound is way less bright than this sound. Super bright, not bright. So what I did was added a multipass that pitches up this lowest spot, adds some other distortion and stuff to it, a little bit of chorus, and mixes it with the other 2 higher bands that I've just done some EQing to. And it just makes it as bright as the other section. Again, EQing it more. It's all about brightening the sound, right? And then just stomping it with a distortion. So what does that do? It gives me 2 different little bass hits that sound like they're the same synth sound or whatever. And then for this section, I added a new sound in, which is this little sound that I called Moosey, G sharp. So I didn't have to pitch stretch this one, or did I? I did. I had to pitch it down 4 semitones, and I shortened it a bunch, which just makes it kind of wave through the frequencies there. And I'm sending that just into the identical processing as the first sound, the bright one, and this. As you can see, there's a lot of greens and stuff, which is the high frequencies for my particular DAW setup thing. The reds and purples and shit, I think, are the lows. I just did that to make it look pretty, though. Who am I lying to? So I've done that. And since I've EQ'd the sub out of all those sounds, I get kind of a similar feel and just a completely new and unique sound out of a single sound from a sample pack and kind of another one. So that's the basis. Then we add the next little layer that I have here, which is the filler basses. And what are these? These are the Mish Cross samples. So this, and it sounds, I think I used the last piece of it as my thing that I added here. And that is the first half of this. It's that first little piece right there, and I didn't even volume fade it or do anything. I just pitched it into the correct pitch for this, which in this case is F, and changed the time length of it just to kind of fit with the next kick that's coming up there. So I did that there, and then here I'm using the ending half of it, right? So using one sound in two places kind of splits it up and makes it a little more unique. Then we have this, which is another sound. Same folder, post dubstep. Ooh, very nice and watery. What did I do to this one? Sounds like nothing. I might have sent it into some effects. Yeah, just some compression and high boosting on the bottom, which is what I sent all three of these sounds into. So all that's doing is, since they don't have a sub, just boosts that low end up to make it a little chunkier. And as you can see, the subs are muted out for each of those sounds. And so I'm using the original sub from the sample. Then we have another one here that comes in. Nice thunky dumpy sound, which comes from the Future Rhythm folder. And it's just that first little hit there. Right? Just kind of works as a nice little... And... could have probably even made that louder. Let's just leave it loud. Nice and chesty. Sounds like you're hitting some drawers. Really funky sounding. I like that. This is Glitchy Bullshit Super, but it's just one of the... You go into the sampler. Just a little glitch sound, FX sound that I've added a convolver to that I'll show. And this convolver is... Third wave dubstep glitch, and I've just added it to where it fades the wetness in. So if it was full wetness, it would be, whoops, I gotta change it while it plays. Adds weird harmonic resonant tail to it, and I'm just fading that wetness in that gives it the weird little sound instead of just being this, right? Which that would probably sound good too. I like it better with the little flow. So you could probably do two versions of this. One with that, one without it. Okay, let's keep it moving. We'll talk about this piece last. We have some more glitch sounds here. Do I have any more bass sounds? No, that's all the bass sounds. And again, I've used the same little fills here, same pattern. I'll talk about the pattern at the end. So then I have some of the more nuancy things of this track. So first of all, let's talk about the pump sound. And what did I do here? All I did was take this sound, routed it. This red envelope controls a fruity send. So I'm sending 13 into a drunk delay, the blue automation. That pumps in this delay, which is set to dotted, which just happened to work for this. There's a low pass filter on it, so... And that just keeps it from taking up the space that these other sounds are fitting into. And just gives it like a unique little like backer rhythm to go with it. I don't know what to call that. I think that's really all I need to show for that, other than like I did have to use this send to turn on whenever the drunk delay is starting, so that it only samples this first initial hit, right? So it's turning on every time that first hit happens, because I don't want to get a delay off of the signal sending in while it's not the first hit. Otherwise you end up with a very messy... You heard that little tongue whistle? Well, it might even be better. Let's play it with just without the drums and shit and hear how messy this gets. I mean, maybe that's even better. Who knows? I shouldn't be really experimenting with this too much, I don't think. Yeah, I like it better without all the messiness. It just kind of helps it be a little more clearer. So that's pumping in and bringing like a backing layer. Then we have this really cool flow, which is drunk reverb. So I have drunk as a theme in this track, and all it is a super wet reverb that's sending all the time. So it's not just taking this first red section. So we can turn that off. Sending it into a Valhalla room that is fully wet. I know it's called Convolver, but I switched the plugin. And what that green envelope is automating is the send. And I'll play it again with this not in the way, so that it fades the reverb in. And why does the reverb sound weird and wonky? It's because I put a frequency shifter on it and changed the carrier position. I'm sorry, the tuning. And what that ends up doing is just taking our reverb signal and moving it around some. Oh, I gotta get the post EQ. So we get a cool frequency shifted delay only, or reverb only. And that just kind of helps it go from something that's like really kind of the EDM classic and makes it into Tuscan EDM, TDM, baby. And then as like a little finisher here, I have this flow that hits when the reverb turns off here. So the reverb turns off, this little glitch from third wave dubstep hits right on that. And it just sounds nice. I think that's really all that I had to show for this one, y'all. Hopefully you got something out of this tutorial. Let me check my notes. And the last little note I have here is just addressing why the time signature of this track is so weird. And that is because I just made it treating the dotted quarter note, so a quarter note plus a half of a quarter note. I treated that as the ones and threes. So the kick clap flow here is going at kind of the wrong thing for the time signature that the DAW is set to. Whoops. So that right there, 1, 2, 3, 4, this should be the last kick of the thing. And what that really translates to is this song is really actually at a BPM of 100. So if I stretch it to that, then we end up with which is kind of how I'm accustomed to making music. So if I finish this clip, I'll probably change it. I'll have to transfer it over somehow to the correct BPM. But with that, y'all, hopefully you got something useful out of this. If you want to support, go buy the pack. If you don't, I totally understand. Use these tricks to make your own stuff in songs and get whatever you can get out of them. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.